Hey, what's up everybody? Guess what? We're back with episode 4, that's right, of the MVP show, the minimal viable production show with your host, this guy, Jesse Wolfe. Thank you again for joining me. We're in episode 4. I'm pretty amped about this, if we're being honest. Consistency is key. That's going to be literally the key word for this whole show. We're just going to be consistent. We're going to work through the challenges. We're going to work through the unknown, right? But we're going to work. And we're going to work through it. And we're going to be consistent. So, with that being said, you're going to notice that this didn't go up on Wednesday, right? For those of you that follow me on Instagram at realjessewolfe, I would greatly appreciate if you gave me a follow. You would have saw last week the poll that I ran asking you guys, right, what you thought was the best time to drop a podcast show today. Before that, we did roughly a time one, do longer, do shorter, what everybody's preference was. And again, I'm new to this, so I'm just polling as much as I can to understand how this works, what you guys are watching, what you're not watching, what you want to see more of, how we can innovate, how we can change things to make podcasts and YouTube channels, etc. better, right? How to get the most enjoyment out of this. So, last week, we ran a poll that said, what is the best day and what is the worst day to drop a podcast/show? For those of you who don't follow me on Instagram, does not take Sherlock Holmes to realize I had picked probably the worst day and time to drop a podcast on a weekly basis. According to my polls, Wednesday at noon was last place out of 7 days a week and several different time slots. The winner, right, with a very close race, was Sunday night and Monday morning. So, we're going to drop it Monday morning. We'll see how this goes. You guys tell me in the comments below what you think, for those of you that did not participate in the Instagram poll. I try to get really involved with MVP on Instagram. I try to get really involved with MVP on Facebook. So again, follow me there to get some behind the scenes deets before the episodes drop. We have some really cool things in the work with MVP, some potentially very big news with MVP, but you have to stay tuned on Instagram and the show to find out before it drops. Okay, so thank you for everybody that participated in that. It really means the world. And there's a critical thing here that we're taking away. I promised you that this was going to be an MVP. We're building a show right before your eyes. This is part of the process. So I got a show out. I had no idea fully how to run a podcast or a YouTube channel show like this. So I picked Wednesday at noon, assuming, from what I had researched, that was a good time frame. My viewers, right, my fans, my friends, my family, told me differently. So that's okay, you make a pivot. It wasn't that big of a deal for changing the time slot, right? We made an announcement, we pivoted, things were good. So, this is part of the process. It was actually very ironic that I accidentally selected probably the worst time. But we're going to move on. Fun fact, we got the old MVP mug back today. So, cheers. That is fresh, roasted Gatorade. Anyways, it is orange Gatorade. I'm not going to lie to you. Let's get into the show. 3 things that rocked the business world this week. Obviously, as we know, COVID has taken a toll on all kinds of stuff. I, living in Orlando, Florida, have been really interested to see how a specific business was going to come back to life, if you will, after the break we've all been, forced to take to some degree. Universal Studios announced over the weekend that they will start reopening the park, I believe this week, from what I've read. This is pretty crazy. Disney, rumors, you're seeing dates and stuff coming in on the booking side of things, but no official date's been launched yet. Now, they are talking about opening Downtown Disney, which is like their dining area, but has nothing to do with the actual theme parks. There's no rides in Downtown Disney. Disney Springs. I'm sorry, Disney fans. Do not come after me. Disney Springs. But Universal is going to soft open. Obviously limited capacity, but I'm very interested to see how they're going to handle this because it's such a hands-on business dealing with mass amounts of customers in close proximity, right? How are they going to clean rides that fast? How are they going to uphold cleanliness? And are they going to sanitize the ride after every ride? And are they going to run only so many rides? This is going to be wild. So I'm very intrigued. What I love about watching this unfold is the MVP process. So what you guys have to understand is MVP can be different stages of a business. It does not have to be just launching a business. Doing a massive pivot in a company that's ran a business the same, let's take Disney, since the 60s, that's an MVP. They don't have a lot of time. They got to throw something out there to keep their business going, to keep their fans happy, their customers happy, and you don't have a great length of time to sit there and figure it out. So you put out the best you can, you listen to your customers, and hopefully, if you're a smart business person, you will work alongside your customers, apologize when they're upset, celebrate when they're happy, you learn, you grow, etc. So Universal Studios is entering a wild MVP process right now. Very interesting to watch. What do you think? How do you think the theme park should handle reopening and public safety? Would love to have a great conversation about that. Let me know. Okay, number 2 for the week. This one is pretty cool and obviously close to my own heart being in food. Pepsico launches not 1, but 2 direct-to-consumer DTC sites in the last week. Massive MVP move. We almost need like a DJ sound, like burr, 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 and then like up in the corner, flashes or something. MVP move. If you know how to do that, comment below. And let's take a second here, speaking of comment below, and tap that like button for me, please. I love you. All right. Also, while you're there and you're hanging out with the other guys and gals that are hitting the like button, get together, talk about it, and then smash that subscribe button. Love you. Let's get back to it. PepsiCo going direct to consumer. So when I first read this, I thought, is PepsiCo, what are they doing? Are they trying to cut out grocery stores? You know, obviously online sales have been astronomical for a lot of brands. What is food doing? Turns out, a little bit of that's true, but not quite the overall plan. First, PepsiCo launched not 1, but 2 sites in 30 days. From idea to launch live and shipping in 30 days. That's extremely impressive for any business, let alone a business the size of Pepsi. You would think being the size of Pepsi would be a huge advantage, but really the bigger the company, the more red tape, the longer things get drawn out. So for Pepsi to go 0 to 30 with a whole new product, not 1 but 2, wow, insane. And it was because they wanted to respond to the COVID-19 opportunities. And mainly that being the grocery stores running out of product, right? And, you know, on the food side of things, the back end, the supply chain is totally tight right now. Semi-trucks are loaded trying to keep up with the mass amount of produce and food going out to grocery stores. Manufacturers are backlogged. I mean, it's a party right now for sure. So as I dug through this, it shows that Pepsi is using this as a test bed, which is kind of cool, for new products. It's also pairing products. So like you can subscribe to this bundling kit, if you will, and it sends you like a Pepsi Care Pack morning starter. So it's got Tropicana orange juice, it's got Quaker oats in it, and it had another product. So like breakfast items show up. The idea is they're showing you it's a complete breakfast. Interesting for sure. I'm very curious to see how this is going to work out as well. And what exactly they're trying to do with this product. Do I see them cutting out retail? No. Pepsi's the king of retail when it comes to food. They're like one of the top 5, right? But are they going to lean on this to push their own products faster? Possibly. Are they going to use it for an R&D bed to test new products faster? That would be a great thought for sure. I mean, that would just be a brilliant move on Pepsi's behalf. But I've never seen such an aggressive DTC launch of such a big brand to date. Again, COVID's changed a lot of ways business is happening, so I'm curious to see if this is a tactic that they're seeing coming down the pipeline or they're experimenting with to see how consumers react to it. Obviously, as a lot of us know, if you're ordering Instacart or any of those type of products, shopping online for groceries is hotter now than ever before. So, what are you doing, Pepsi? What do you guys think they're doing? Very interesting. And then, who sells Pepsi? None other than our third crazy fact of the week. IKEA making news, basically announcing plans to expand. Now, this is exciting because if you're like me, you love some Swedish meatballs. They are delicious, and the mashed potatoes are not bad either. Check this out. So if you've ever been to an IKEA store, it's basically Disneyland of furniture with a touch of Sweden. The stores are huge. They're literally a little bit of an amusement park to some degree because you have to literally follow your way through the store. It's very easy to get lost. If you've ever wanted to dump a date, take them to IKEA. It's very easy. You can play it off like you got separated and you never see each other again. So if you ever get stuck on an awkward date and you want to leave, might be a way to go. I'm kidding. Don't do that. IKEAs are huge. So what they're thinking about doing, which is very fascinating, is they're taking over vacant and dead, basically department stores and smaller buildings like that, and even abandoned post offices, which I thought was really weird. A new, smaller footprint for IKEA. Now, Trader Joe's, in essence, did this to grocery stores. So where the average grocery store has 45, 48,000, 50,000 SKUs, Trader Joe's has between 4,000 and 7,000 SKUs. They literally shrunk the size of a grocery store, reduced the selection, but their sales per square foot are astronomical. I'm wondering if IKEA is doing this to hit more rural markets. So like right now, IKEAs are mainly in just massive cities, which makes sense. Someplace like, Miami, Orlando, New York, LA, etc., densely populated, and a lot of their offerings are for those type of apartments. So, is IKEA trying to move to rural cities, smaller towns, to infiltrate more customer base? Good question. What do you guys think? I think there's a chance the Midwest, you might just be getting yourself some more Swedish meatballs. That's exciting stuff. All right, it's time. Let's get into our Swedish meatballs and potatoes. I want to talk to you guys, very important topic today, about starting a business, which is what we talk about constantly, but something very special today. We need to have a heart-to-heart. We kind of dove right into the MVP. What is an MVP? How do you have an MVP? How do you create an MVP, etc.? But we need to take a step back together, right? So walk with me. We're stepping back. Okay? Hear me out. We need to talk about why you start a business to begin with, right? And I got a couple comments and a couple questions around this past week, and I thought we should probably address this. This is very important. Something I get constantly that drives me freaking bonkers is, one, you're so lucky. That irritates me because I'm not lucky. I actually have pretty bad luck in the terms of luck. I work really hard. So nobody struck me with a pot of gold and gave me a winning lottery ticket for a business. I had many failed businesses before I got to the one that, pretty much got me here to some degree. But the other thing too is they tell me, I want to be an entrepreneur like you where I can make my own schedule and have more free time. There's some truth and there's some definite lie to that, okay? Let's talk about why you get started in a business. Not about what kind of business you're going to start, but why you even want to be an entrepreneur. why you want to create a business, why you want to go down this path. Let's start there. So, first thing I want to explain is passive income versus a startup. You will see on your computer, your phone, your tablet, whatever, ads, courses, people sitting on the hoods of Lamborghinis, people sitting on the hoods of Ferraris, people sitting on the hoods of Fieros, whatever, telling you, you too can be making millions of dollars a year while sitting at the beach. There's some truth. There's a lot of lies to that. The truth is, you're probably not going to be sitting on the hood of a Lamborghini for a while. And that's just the nature of the beast. Now, is that everybody? No. Okay? There's businesses that blow up in 6 months, in a year, and hit it. Those are called unicorns. And unicorns are rare. Unicorns tend to go to billion-dollar businesses within a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. But they crack $1 billion and they become uber successful. Unicorns are Instagram, Uber, Airbnb, right? Those are unicorns. But unicorns are uber rare, which means that process is uber rare. So can you do it? Yes. I'm not going to sit here and rain on your parade and say it's impossible. It's not, but we're going to be very realistic here, okay? So first and foremost, I want you to stop anytime you see a coach, a guru, whoever, talking about sitting on a beach, take my course, learn to make $1 million, give me a small sum of $100 to $5,000, whatever that price might be. First and foremost, I want you to Google that person's name, okay? If they don't come up with owning a real business, a business that's taken off, a business that's exited, a business that's been in Forbes, Inc., Entrepreneur, any massive publication on TV, CNBC, C-SPAN, I don't care, HGTV, Home Shopping Network, you name it. They have to show up reputable, okay? These coaches that become coaches to coach coaches who want to become coaches, no bueno. All they're doing is regurgitating information you too can find on YouTube. And that's that. Don't listen to them, okay? So if you're going to take truth or information from anybody, make sure you vet out who that anybody is. Would you take advice from a dentist on how to land a 747? Probably not, unless that dentist just so happened to be a pilot. But we'd find that out because we would Google the dentist's credentials, right? We'd look up his or her name, and it would show dentist and pilot. Hey, I trust you, and in fact, you're a real go-getter. I should probably work with you, okay? Don't take advice from somebody in a field that has no idea about your field, okay? So, passive income is a real thing. However, it takes a ton of money to create passive income, for the most part. You want to make a couple $100? Sure, you can create passive income. You want to retire on a beach, in real estate? You need a lot of money to buy real estate. Or a really, really, really creative way to do it. And again, if you're going to take that advice, take it from somebody who's done it the exact same way, okay? We're talking startups. And a startup is different. A startup is something you create, something you work on day in and day out to grow. A startup will eventually turn into a business. A business will turn into legit a career to some degree for you. Now, at some point in time, you might come to the crossroads where you can sell that business, exit that business, partner with that business, raise money for that business, merge a business. There's a million different ways to carry on a business. Or you stay in it, and that's your career, and that happens. So first and foremost, you got a lifestyle business, and then you've got a startup. A lifestyle business would be something like a typical landscaper, car detailer, roofing company, what else we got here? Construction company, something, house cleaning, apartment cleaning, commercial cleaning, anything like that, right? These are businesses where, boat mechanics, automotive mechanics, etc. They own the shop, they own the service. They're going to your house. It's probably a sole proprietorship. They maybe have 1 or 2 employees, 3 employees, 4 employees max that are there working with them, a couple times a week. It's their livelihood, right? And that's great. You can have an incredible career with a lifestyle business. Most lifestyle businesses don't exit. This is what they do to make their money. This is what they do to make their income, and that's how they live their life, and it's an incredible life. The other side of it is you create a startup with an intention of becoming a big company. You're going to have several employees, if not, hundreds, if not maybe even thousands, right? You're going to have to raise money and capital, or you grow it organically and, it's doing multiple millions of dollars a year, in some big spaces. So you kind of decide right away, do I want to have a nice lifestyle business that allows me to have a good income, and I don't have to travel the world, I don't have to travel the country on airplanes, I can stay local, I'm in my local economy, and life's good. Ice cream shops. I have friends that own very successful ice cream shops here in town, and it's a great lifestyle business, but they're not trying to sell that ice cream to Publix. They love being local ice cream shops, and I love them being local because I enjoy their ice cream, and I probably put one of their kids through college. Anyways, so once you decide that, the idea you're coming up with, what you're chewing on, how big you want it to get, then you kind of move down the pipeline. I'll tell you right now, do not, if there's one thing you ever take away from the MVP show, myself, do not start a business that you're not passionate about, okay? If you hate roofing, but the money looks good, I would highly suggest not doing roofing. Why? It's not a passive income job, okay? Again, we just went over passive income and how that works, and if you guys are really interested, we could deep dive passive income one day, but I don't think you will really care that much. Let me know. If you start a roofing company because the money's awesome, and you don't like it, or you're afraid of heights, or you don't do well in the sun, or whatever, don't do roofing. You're going to be on a roof probably 6 days, if not 7 days a week, 360 days a year, okay? At least until it gets big enough that you can hire and outsource people. You have to love what you do, right? And I tell people, if you start something for sheer passion, an example, I loved hummus. I loved cooking. That's why I loved the hummus concept. I always, as a kid, wanted to be not only an entrepreneur, but a chef. I had a huge passion for food. I grew up in a family that cooked a ton, and I wanted to be a chef. I dreamt of being on HGTV, Food Network, any of those places that had cooking shows. That was a dream of mine. So when I went to college, I thought college or culinary school. So I went to college. I thought maybe after I was going to culinary school, but I hacked it. Instead, I started a food company at the end of my college career. It was a double win. And ironically enough, when I started my company, I really didn't have these grandiose goals to become a multi-millionaire, 50,000 grocery store, mega brand. I just wanted to sell hummus and see how big I could get it, right? I mean, which was kind of naive at the time, but I wasn't chasing dollar bills per se. I was chasing, can I do this? Can I make a living on this and grow this thing into something I can be proud of? Like, how big can I get this thing to go? I had no idea what I was really getting into, truthfully, at the time when I started this in 2013. But that's where my head was at. And then I proceeded to work a full-time job, go to school almost full-time, and launch that concept, this idea, at the exact same time. I would wake up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. I would go to work from 6:30 until about 6:30. I would get off. I would drive, go to class from 7 until 11, basically. I would come home, and that was most of the week. And then from 11:30 to about 2:30, I worked on the hummus company all night. And then I got a couple hours of sleep, and I did that. And then Thursday and Friday, I stayed up. I had a little less class. I got home, I think, 8 o'clock. But I had made hummus those 2 nights for the markets that weekend. And that's what I did. And I did that for 5 or 6 months straight. And I'm not saying that's what you have to do. I'm not saying it's what you should do. You should sleep more because that was brutal for sure. But that was the sacrifice I made. I didn't have time to hang out with my friends. I didn't get a chance to see my family a lot during those times. But I knew a goal I was chasing, and I loved what I was doing. So while yes, I was tired some days, and yeah, there was days when I didn't feel like doing it, the drive, the passion, I enjoyed making the hummus, creating the hummus, selling the hummus, meeting the customers, creating fans, creating a family. That was fun to me. I was addicted to it. And that's what carried me through that tough phase. So with you guys, I want you to really think about the ideas that you're coming up with. You know, as an entrepreneur, you have shiny object syndrome, right? Ooh, I bet you that can make a lot of money. Ooh, I could probably do this and be successful with it. Ooh, this looks fun. Really listen to those concepts and tell yourself, if you had to work on this 6 days a week for 14 hours a day, would that be okay? Would you be happy doing it? And if your answer is probably not, that sounds grueling, maybe this isn't it. And I'm not saying it's going to be like this forever, and I'm not saying your business will even be like that sometimes. But there's going to be days when you're, sitting on a Thursday night or a Friday night, and you're getting ready to grab a dinner with your loved one, and your phone rings, and you have to take it. And is that going to irritate you? Or are you able to grab that with a smile and just get it done? You have to ask yourself those questions. Never start a business that you're not passionate about, right? Roofing, great roofing companies that I know here in town as an example, going back to that, they love what they do. They're obsessed with it. And I know to us, we're like, who's obsessed with roofing? They are. And it's incredible to watch. I listened to Robert Herjavec talk about how much he nerds out and is obsessed with cybersecurity. Not my cup of tea. I enjoy it. I use it. But I don't know anything about it. So it doesn't get me excited, right? Now food, I'm a big guy. I love eating. I love creating food. Food makes me happy. Creating food for other people makes them happy, which makes me even more happier. That's what gets me excited. What gets you excited? All right? What's going to get you up out of bed at 6 o'clock in the morning, raring to go? What's going to keep you up those nights and keep you fueled, on the journey, right? You have to really think through that piece. So when people come and say I want to be an entrepreneur because I want the freedom, and the flexibility, you do have freedom. You do have some flexibility. I'll be honest with you, okay? I have a lot of freedom. I have a lot of flexibility as, the founder of these startups, right? If I want to get a haircut on a Tuesday at 11, 12 in the morning, yeah, I can do that. I can schedule it. I don't have to ask permission to anybody. And I go get my haircut. I'm not going to lie, it's pretty freaking awesome, okay? If I've got a doctor's appointment, it's not that big of a deal. If I have to go home and see my family for whatever reason, I can. But that doesn't mean the work disappears. I usually don't have anybody to help me pick up my slack on some of my tasks. That's still there. So I go home and at 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, I have to do that work still, right? You're the top of the food chain, right? There's you. There's nobody to turn down to. Sometimes you can pass that stuff down to some of your team members and employees, but for the most part, that's where your freedom lies. I don't sit on the beach 5 days a week and open my computer and just watch money rolling, right? Like you see on the ads on Instagram. That's not what I do. I usually work 5 days a week lately, but there's 6-day work weeks often, or I'm traveling. I mean, especially last year when we were growing like crazy, I was traveling an insane amount. So while I was working Monday through Friday, and off on the weekends, I was usually on an airplane, right? Coming back either Friday night or Saturday morning. I'm home for a day, maybe, and then I was at the airport again Sunday night, catching another flight back out to where I needed to go. Yeah, I had some breakdowns, yeah, that stuff was stressful, right? Because I was on the road a ton, 200 and some thousand miles in like 14 months. But I loved every minute of it. right? It was grueling, and I got mad respect for salespeople that travel the world and are on planes every single week, because it's grueling, right? So again, you got to have that passion that's going to carry you through those tough times. That's what I'm asking you guys to do. I want you to really step back and think about, before you even dig into the MVP side of things, can I see myself doing this, at crazy times? You might have to miss some things. You might have to miss family events, which sucks. You might have to miss, hanging out with your friends. You might have to miss concerts and stuff. I mean, if you're the business owner, right, and something happens, a fire, right, a metaphorical fire is happening at your business, you have to drop what you're doing and handle it. There's no, oh, my boss will figure it out. You are the boss. The buck stops with you. So that is the one thing a lot of people don't understand. Now, will it be like that forever? No, kind of, right? You're always, as the CEO and the founder, you're always the top of that pyramid. That's you right there, right? So ultimately, you can hire people below you that can handle the majority of jobs, but they still report to you, right? So there's an important lesson that we could talk about, about finding mentors and advisors, around you to help you answer those questions when you're unknown, because that's another topic, but that's for later down the road. Right now, I really want you guys to focus on, is the topic we're talking about for your MVP what you really want to do? Please promise me you won't start something you don't like, right? If you follow your passion, the money will follow you, right? I love you guys. And I know this is a little more kind of offbeat, but it's very critical. And I thought about this, I'm like, we have to talk about this. This is so critical to starting a successful business. And if you listen to me, and if you don't believe me, I want you to go look at, YouTube interviews of Steve Jobs and, Walt Disney and some of these icons, Zuckerberg. You can see and hear so many stories of, the hard work and the late nights and the countless hours they put into these, big companies, and the failures and the setbacks they had and how they got through them. And what you'll realize is, quickly, it's the passion for what they did. Jobs lived Apple. He was obsessed with technology and innovating technology, and he loved it. Zuckerberg lived social media, right? He did everything he could to make sure that Facebook survived, and he still lives for that company. Walt Disney had so many setbacks and failures. He should have quit, but he was so passionate about what he was doing and so excited for what his vision was, that he could run through walls. And he did. So with that, I want you to really, if you're stuck, if you feel like maybe you haven't found, the right product or the right idea yet, get on YouTube, get on Netflix, read a book. There's crazy good books about inspiring entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs you look up to, and try to find the interviews that talk about their why, like why they started, what caused them to, come up with these ideas, and what fueled those ideas. And I think one of the future episodes, we're going to talk about your why. And that's a whole nother topic, and we should talk about your why. So for now, do that for me. Think about your business idea, the concept, the current business you're in. Is this the right business for you? Are you in love with it? And let's start there. If you guys have any questions, you know what to do. Leave them below. Hit me up on Instagram, realjessewolfe, Facebook, Jesse Wolfe, LinkedIn, Jesse S. Wolfe. If you have any questions, I love you guys very much. Thank you for joining me.